Mic check, 1, 2.
Mic check, 1, 2.
Okay, sounds good. Today, I've got Dr. Travis Ziegler, graduated in 2010 from the Ohio State University College of Optometry with Magna Cum Laude honors. He's the co-founder of ilovethesun.com, whose mission is to end preventable blindness. Dr. Travis and his wife, Dr. Jenna Zigler, use the profits from iLove to fund free and low-cost clinics in South Carolina and Jamaica. They also started a charity called the I Love Cares Foundation, ilovecares.org, which provides exams, glasses, sunglasses for those in need, free education, and scholarships for students that align with their mission. iLove does an average of $180,000 per month on Amazon and Shopify in sales. He has created highly engaged communities of over 2,000 people, and it's growing daily. And this is the AmzSecrets.com podcast and show, episode 92. I'm your host, David Aladdin. Let's skip past the sponsors and right into it. Great to have you on the show, Travis.
Hey, David. Thanks for having me.
Can you take us to the beginning before you guys were selling on Amazon and Shopify? Where did your journey begin?
Oh, it began, back in college. My wife went to the University of Michigan. I went to the Ohio State University for undergrad, and we ended up meeting and started dating when she came to optometry school in 2007, and I was a second year. She was a first year. We dated throughout optometry school and started practicing in Columbus, Ohio from 2010 to 2015. And in 2015, we worked for my uncle in Columbus, Ohio, and we decided we wanted to go off on our own and do our own thing. So we actually pretty much quit our jobs, moved across the country to South Carolina, and started 2 new practices from scratch. And then whenever you're starting up a new practice, it tends to be a little slower at first while you're gaining that initial clientele. Similar to your Amazon business, you're not selling 200 to 300 units a day, you're selling 1 to 2 units a day, and you're building up from there. And practice is the same way. And so I was bored. And the Amazing Selling Machine was on its 5th version in May of 2015, and we bought it and just went through the course and didn't follow the training for picking out a product, just did what we know and what we love, which is eyes, and just kind of went from there. So July 2015 is when we got our first sale, and we did the typical rookie mistake of only ordering 100 units, selling out in 7 days and realizing, wow, this is real. So then we brought in an investor and we dumped about 20,000 of our own dollars in and grew from there.
Okay, so before the whole Amazon thing, you guys joined a practice for 5 years. When did you get you had this concept of just leaving, the safe area of the job, and whose idea was it first, you or your wife's?
My wife is she likes to be safe, very, very safe. So it was definitely my idea, but probably back in 2012 or 13, I read a book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad, which I'm sure a lot of your readers have read, and I'm sure it's changed a lot of their lives. And so we got into real estate, and we bought our first duplex about a year later, and we still have that duplex, actually. It's in Columbus, Ohio, and we just have 2 tenants that rent from us. And we just realized that the path to ultimate wealth is owning a practice. We looked at owning a practice up in Ohio, and we just wanted to get out of the winter. And that's why we kind of made the plunge to come all the way down here in South Carolina.
What does it take to start a practice?
A lot. A lot of patience. And so when you're first starting out a practice, you pretty much, we actually bought an existing practice, but it was actually on the downhill. It did about 220 its first year, 180 its second year, and then the third year it did 120,000. And that's when we came in and purchased it, and we got a really good deal on it. And unfortunately, it was kind of had a bad rep in the community, so we had to build that back up. And we did that pretty well just by getting out and getting involved in the community like a typical business that's local does. And you just accept every insurance plan possible, even if it's not profitable. And very similar to when you launch a product, you just try to do things for free for people. You find influencers in the community, and or the sneezers in the community, whatever you want to call them, and you give them free eye care, or you give them free glasses, and they'll tell everybody.
So do you mind saying how much you guys bought that business for?
Yeah, so we bought both locations for about $67,000.
Did that include the physical property and everything?
So the one location has a physical property. It included everything inside of it. It was actually a rental. So they rented it was a duplex building, and we rented half of it. And then all the stuff that was inside of it that came with it, glasses, all the equipment, computers. The other location is inside a Walmart. So we don't own any of the equipment. We just own the patient charts.
Why do you think the people who sold it sold it?
I know why they sold it. So the owner was going through a lot of problems in life, and he was battling a couple different diseases, and he was young like us, and so he just decided that it wasn't for him anymore, and it was perfect for two doctors to come in and grow, and he just didn't have the time and the energy, definitely not the energy to commit to growing it anymore, which shows in the yearly revenues. So going
Mm,
from 220 to 180 to 120 over a 3 year span shouldn't happen in any practice.
definitely not. And like the margin on that type of business is it's mostly service business, right?
It's all service based. We do have an optical. We did have an optical in our old office that we sold. And that old optical, the optical makes up about 60% to 70% of your revenue, which is your glasses, your contact lenses, everything like that.
Mm. So at these clinics, you can also sell your products as well, right?
Yeah, we do. And so we
Very
didn't
cool.
have products at the beginning, but
Yeah.
now we do in our at our Walmart location. We sell all our consumables there.
Very cool. And then, okay, so you guys acquired this business for about 66K and then you guys sold it at some point?
Yeah, we sold one of them. So we sold the private practice, which had all the equipment and the glasses and everything, and we ended up selling it for about I don't yeah it was around the 150 mark.
Nice.
And
Yeah.
then we still have the other location, which is kind of our cash cow, and that doesn't really have any overhead. It has $3,000 a month in overhead. So after we see 30 patients in a month, it's pretty much pays for, or that's all profit.
And you guys, are you guys the ones running the business or do you have like employees that do it now for you?
So we still run the business. I
Mm.
work a day and a half a week, and my
Nice.
wife works 2 days a week, and we only work 3.5 days per week, and those 3.5 days rotate. So we don't work. We work like it's called a schedule crunch. We work Thursday through Saturday one week, and then we'll work Monday through Wednesday the next week. And so it makes it very nice because we'll have 6 to 7 day weekends to work on our business, on our e-commerce business, and then it allows us just more freedom to travel and do what we love.
You guys are in a very interesting situation because you have this retail side and then you also
Hmm.
have this e-commerce side. Do you see the e-commerce starting to take over the retail side?
It did the first year.
Jeez. So I know we're jumping ahead, but what's the plan? I,
The plan right now is we have a contract with Walmart that will stay in there until January, and then we're pretty much evaluating everything right now if we want to keep it, if we want to get rid of it. But we're in talks of selling that practice right now with somebody, and he might take it over in January, and we're pretty excited about that because he's going to be a great doctor coming in and filling in our shoes, and then we may consider moving. So we want to get around people that think more like us because in South Carolina it's tough to find that entrepreneur crowd. It's
Mhm.
out there, but it's very tough to find. So we're going to go to somewhere that's more entrepreneur friendly.
Any ideas?
Austin,
Yeah. Well, they just
100%
got hit
Austin.
by the hurricane. Hope they're doing
That's
okay.
okay. We get hurricanes here too.
Very cool. Okay, so how did I Love is a different brand from the ophthalmology and that
Yep.
practice, right?
Yep.
So yeah, what was the belief behind that?
So just keeping things separate. You always want to have as many businesses as you can separated just for protection purposes, but
Mhm.
we wanted to keep all e-commerce things e-commerce and then all retail things retail. So when I go to buy our consumables from our e-commerce business, I actually invoice our business, and my retail business actually pays for all the consumables because we do have a wholesale model as well.
Very interesting. So your one business is paying the other business or
Hmm.
buying from the other business, and I guess for tax reasons that makes it very clear as well.
Yeah, and you can do this with if you have a building, a physical building, you want that building to be in a separate LLC or a S corp or whatever you're doing, and then you want your business to rent it out from your other business.
I've heard about that. Let's talk more about that actually. So you have an LLC that holds the building that you're renting,
Hmm.
and then it's How's that work? Can you go into detail?
We don't own the building anymore. So we don't own the building that we practice in now. So
Hmm.
we just pay rent to Walmart because it's their building. But so if you had a physical property that you built like a warehouse and you bought it through your Amazon business or your e-commerce business, you do not want it to be in the same holding as that. So you'd create a separate LLC that the business owns, that this other business owns,
Hmm.
and then your e-commerce business would then pay that business to rent the space just like you would if you rented to anybody else. And you can even take this a step further, and any equipment that you own inside the building, you can then create a separate business for the equipment that you own and rent the equipment to your e-commerce business as well. And what that's doing is it's just protecting yourself. And as long as you keep it separated, and that's pretty much piercing the corporate veil as you want to avoid that. But as long as you keep everything separated, it's it's going to be better for you from a protection standpoint because I mean, I'm no attorney or anything, but this is just what we do. And if somebody sues our optometry business, they can't get anything from our e-commerce business and vice versa. And then if somebody sues your e-commerce business, they can't come after the building. The building's in a separate LLC.
Man, you know, that sounds very smart. I should definitely consider that, especially as I'm starting another brand.
Yeah.
Um, I guess for me, like I just want to get out and start selling on the new brand, and all this legal jargon gets in the way of that. Where do you guys have all
Yeah.
this time to do this kind of stuff?
Well, I think entrepreneurs always have that fire first, ask questions later, aim, fire first and then aim. And we just have a great team around us. We have four attorneys that we consult with on a
Mm,
regular basis for different areas of our business. And then we have a CPA, an accounting team, a bookkeeper. And it sounds expensive, but it's really not. I mean,
mm,
we have two of our attorneys on retainer for $40 a month. And then whenever we need them, they answer pretty basic questions at no cost. And they go over 5 documents a month at no cost. And then we have a trademark attorney for any trademark issues that we have, which we've had trouble with trademarks before. And he charges, $300 an hour, but it's not really that bad because you talk to him maybe one time a month and it costs you $200 a month. And then our accounting team costs, $600 to $1,000 a month, but they do bookkeeping, accounting, and they do tax planning as well. So if you don't pay for it in the front end, you're going to pay for it in the back end, which is April of every year.
mm. Very interesting. So you guys built your brand completely around, something that you love. A lot of sellers tend to go one way or the other. They sell products that just sell, and you guys sell products that you love and are passionate about. And for like looking or listening to you now, it sounds like it was just like a no-brainer to do that. But let's talk about your reason for doing that.
So we followed the course, the ASM course to a T. We were looking for products to launch. We looked in the baby niche. We looked in this niche. We looked in a bunch of different areas, and we're just like, man, if people start asking questions about these, we're not going to be able to answer them because we don't know anything about babies because we don't have any. So that's always key. And we're like, we know eye care. Why don't we just stick with eye care? So we looked into sunglasses, which is probably the most competitive market in the world. And because you're competing with Ray-Ban and Oakley and Nike and Gucci and Prada, any name brand that you can think of has sunglasses. So we're just like, let's just try it, see what happens. And it worked. It's hard though, because sunglasses are an area that we have about probably 10 pair now that we still sell. And that's kind of our cash cow. We just sell those for the profit, and then we invest all those profits back into our disruptive part of the company, which we can go into later if you want. But sunglasses are tough because you have to have an FDA approval to import them. You have to have an FDA facility over wherever you have them manufactured. They have to be FDA certified. They have to pass certain standards, which most people don't know any of this. And even we didn't know everything that went into it until we started selling sunglasses. But we mainly just stopped doing product research and said, let's just do sunglasses. Let's just try it. And then a year later, our model shifted to consumables in the eye care space. So we sell dry eye supplements and sprays, and we're getting into drops, and we
Mm,
sell things for macular degeneration because when somebody asks us a question on sunglasses or blue light blocking glasses, or if they ask us anything about the consumables, we can answer them because we're experts in that space. And we can go into community building more later, but it's kind of everything's been encompassed around the eyeball, which is what we know so well.
Oh, I like that. It's definitely different to hear. A lot of sellers come on the show and they just like this thing sells, let's sell it. But you guys are doing a two-pronged approach, providing feedback, expertise to your customers, and building new products based on that feedback, which I guess other sellers can do, but y no one would have that kind of foresight to go into what was that eye drop you said?
The eye spray.
Yeah, eye spray, exactly. Like I would never launch that kind of product. Um,
The funny thing about the eye spray, so most of our products, we go for ones that sell 5 to 10 to 20 a day. We
mhm,
don't really go for that home run hit that sells 100 a day, but
yeah,
the eye spray is actually, we're doing about 50 to 70 a day right now.
solid, yeah.
And it's really become a disruptive product because it's innovative technology in the eye care space. We found it accidentally.
Mhm.
An actual customer brought it to us, and I reached out to the manufacturer and just said, will you private label this? And he said, of course we would. And it's a prescription medication that we made over the counter. And so we can't make claims like it treats dry eye or it treats whatever condition we're treating with it. We can just say it helps clean the eyelids. And so that's the whole FDA route with consumables is you can't claim it does something unless you have it FDA approved to treat that. And that can cost $100 million to get that approval. So the prescription spray is it did pay that, and they are approved for dry eye and everything, but we're not. But it's the same pretty much formula, very similar.
And I feel like that's a golden nugget right there. There's definitely a boundary that you've gotten to that many other sellers definitely can't get to. And then you also had this relationship with a manufacturer that, you know, you kind of pushed the private label onto him versus, you were just kind of searching on Alibaba for a product. How'd you build that
Yeah, this is
relationship,
a
by the way? And you don't have to go too deep into detail, but how'd that come
no, that's
about?
fine. I have no problem. It's pretty simple actually. It's like I said, a customer brought us this product and said, "What do you guys think of this?" And I looked at the ingredients, and it was the exact same ingredients as a prescription thing that I do. So I'm just like, man, this is over the counter, so we should look into this. And I literally went to the website, found the email of the CEO, emailed him, said, could we set up a phone call? He called me literally 5 minutes later. This was on a Sunday afternoon, and we talked for about 2 hours, and we made a deal right then and signed an NDA, and the rest is history.
Let's hustle right there.
It literally was that simple. I mean,
Yeah.
it can be. It's not
No,
always that
yeah.
simple, but
No, you made
they've
it
been
sound
great.
simple. I mean, you had to reach out to the CEO. You had to put the purchase order. That CEO had to be able to fulfill that kind of order. There's like a lot of things that had to happen in order for you to be selling 80 units per day out of this random aha kind of product.
Yeah, and we just launched it 2 months ago, so we're just starting to get repeat orders, and it's been a pretty awesome product.
What's the life cycle on that kind of product
The life cycle on it. What do you mean by life
when
cycle
they
of the
renew?
product? So we have a 1 month supply, and after they buy the 1 month supply, we want to shift them over to the 4 month supply. Um,
It's awesome.
but it's kind of neat because people will actually subscribe to the 1 month supply, and they're paying more. I mean, our 4 month supply is only double the cost, and you're getting 2 more months for free pretty much. And a lot of people just do the 1 month supply on recurring revenue.
Yeah, that's just thinking too smart to buy the 4 month supply. They don't know that.
We actually email them afterwards about it, and we have an email that goes out about a month later after their 1 ounce is purchased, and it says join or get on the prescription subscription plan, and it points them to that page that all you can do is buy the subscription
Mm.
product.
I feel like that in itself is a golden nugget to it. You know, all my products are not subscription based, and I don't even know how awesome the people that have all these subscription type of beauty products and reoccurring products, how they are doing, but it seems like a gold mine that I
It
haven't
is.
tapped at all.
Yeah, it what you'd be surprised by you say you don't have a subscription product, but we have customers that order the same pair of sunglasses every single month.
It is
And
odd.
it's not because they break, they just order them to put them somewhere else because we're at a good price point that if they do break, it doesn't matter because, if they lose them or anything like that, it's
Mm.
not a big deal.
Let's talk about your business partner, it's your wife, right?
Correct.
Did you like get into this relationship understanding that you guys would be in business together? Or
That was
was it
actually
more like
the
a romantic thing at first and then evolved?
so the first question I asked her is if she wanted to, you know, do a crazy amount of money on e-commerce. No, absolutely not. We we actually first met at a bar, oddly enough, and it was I was a first year in optometry school, and she was a senior at the University of Michigan, and I was a first year at Ohio State. And if you know anything about that rivalry, it's a pretty intense rivalry. Some people say it's the most intense in all of sports. And I had a unique shirt on that says mean things about Michigan. And that's why she came up to me and started talking to me. And that's how we met. And she came to optometry school, and that's we always thought we'd just kind of work for somebody our whole lives and maybe own a practice someday. And how our life shifted 2 years ago when we moved to South Carolina and started our own practice and then started this. And now we're talking about possibly even retiring from practice just to focus on this business. And we're still kind of practicing on here.
Mm.
And I guess to go further into your question, my wife is a different mind than I am. So we're the exact opposite. Whenever we do a personality profile, we are the extreme opposites. I'm a quick start. She's not. She's a logistics. So I think of ideas. I do a lot of sales and marketing. I do a lot of video content. I do podcasts like this one right here, and I do a lot of health podcasts. And then she does the logistics, the warehousing,
Mm.
the ordering from manufacturers, the getting it into Amazon, you know, doing all that because that's where she's great at that. She's great at spreadsheets. I am terrible. And then we have other team members as well that will probably take her place in that, and so she can focus on, more content creation as well because she's a great writer as well. She does all our copy, and I do all our photography because I love the art side of things.
I feel like there's a lot of golden nuggets. Like one, you you've got to wear a crazy t-shirt when you're out. That actually changed your life if you think about it.
It really did. Yeah. She probably wouldn't have come up to me, and I can go deeper into that story too because she took a picture, and this was when Facebook just started, and it was like at like 16 colleges, and our college was one, and her university was the other, and it ended up on Facebook. And my roommate, who wasn't at the bar that night, ended up, or he went to high school with her, and he's like, "What are you doing in this picture with some of my high school classmates?" And I was
Mm.
like, "We just randomly met," and that's how we started talking.
It's
So
interesting. Yeah.
yeah, it's a crazy story, and yeah, it's a good.
It's
It's not
it's
just we met at
unique.
the bar.
I've actually like for me like I've been in a relationship and it didn't work out because she wasn't of the entrepreneur breed. She wasn't about me working outside of the 8 to 5 job, and there was just so much clash. And you figured out or how to work it together, and it's definitely a very unique situation too. So
I think we just go along this journey together, and we constantly are building up ourselves and educating, and we're doing all that
yeah,
together. And we started the journey together, which is a big difference from trying to bring somebody into this world
mm.
than creating the world together. And where you're trying to bring somebody in, we created it together.
They don't understand.
No, they don't. And
She didn't
sometimes I
want,
don't know
yeah,
if she understands.
she didn't want me like working, on this business all the time, and had to be home at 5, but I was home, but
Yeah.
there's just so much conflict, and I'm sure a lot of the listeners have similar issues around this. Um, do you ever
And
worry about the conflicts of having a conflict in business as it move over to your relationship?
not at all. I mean, everybody fights, and we don't fight that much. We argue,
Yeah.
we do all that, but it's usually it's small stuff. We always try to think of, you know, is this going to matter in a year? Or
Mm.
is this, I mean, yeah, we've had some really hard times in business this year. 2016 went so well, and 2017 has not gone well at all.
Mm.
We still have great sales, but the bottom line hasn't been that good. And there has been more, I wouldn't say fighting, but figuring out where our roles are and
Mm.
figuring out where we want to go next with this business and how big we want to take it. And we've just had some tough times this year that have really taught us a lot about ourselves and a lot about how we are in business.
I feel like we age faster, and this type of business because
You can.
you're processing a lot more information than
Hmm.
when you're working for 5 years at that optometry job. I think the learning curve has to be faster. It has to be more intense, or you're losing money.
And I'll battle that and argue with you just a little bit that you're doing something you love or you should be. And I love seeing patients, but I don't love it more than I love e-commerce. And that's why we sold the practice to focus on this, because this is where I found my true passion is helping others succeed in e-commerce and then also seeing us succeed. And then also the group that we have a Facebook community called the Dry Eye Syndrome Support Community. And we're growing by about 100 per week, and we're at about 2,300 right now. And just providing value to them. We do a weekly video series that we just started last night.
Mm.
5 p.m. we go live. They ask us questions and we just answer them, because a lot of times nowadays, people that go to a doctor's office, they just don't get the time that they used to because insurance reimbursements are going down. Doctors' time is becoming more and more valuable, but they're getting reimbursed less. And so we're creating that kind of outlet for them to answer their questions. And the goal, we do it for free. And the goal of the community is it in our creating free value for them. We hope they then will come buy our products. And we've created raving fans doing that. And it's something that we love doing. It's not just we're doing it to make sales. And that's where a lot of people get hung up, is they're just trying to make the next sale. We don't care about the sales. We just do it to help people. And in turn, what's going to happen is as you help more people are going to buy your product.
And I feel like this method that your approach is, creating high quality content based on the products that you sell, it doesn't apply to people that are just launching any product that sells, not creating the brand.
You got it. Yeah.
And I've had this argument with many guests, you know, should I create the brand or should I just create the products that sell or should I just wholesale products? And I think this is the way to go, you know.
I 100% agree. And I help a lot of entrepreneurs that are getting started in this space. And um, we're part of a group that helps newbies, and then a kind of more experienced group, and then a really experienced group that's usually higher than our level.
Mm.
And I always tell them the same thing. They always ask me the same thing. What product should I pick? And I say, what brand do you want to build? And I say, grow an audience first, and the product will come from that. And I constantly push that. And then they say, well, what should I build my brand around? And I said, well, that's your choice. We chose eyes because we're optometrists, but it's, I mean, you can become an expert in anything. And I always tell them that an expert is just somebody that knows more than the person that you're teaching. And so we're eye doctors. We trained for 4 years to become eye doctors, and then we still educate ourselves on a daily basis on eye care. I set up Google alerts for the key terms dry eye and blepharitis and any eye disease, and I read all the latest news that's
Mm.
on those topics. And you can do that in any field you want. You can, I mean, if you're in travel and you want to say, let's say traveling to China could be your niche, and you could put that into Google alerts, and then you're going to get information on traveling to China every single day, and then you can create a group around that, and then you can create a travel company around traveling to China, and you create this raving audience of people that love traveling to China or that do it often, and they're going to help each other out. You're going to help them by bringing them new content, and then you can ask them what products to build for them.
See, I feel like if you can build a community for dry eyes, anyone can create a community. Like, 'cause that is like a very niche subject, and you've found thousands of people. It's thousands, right? Or hundreds right now.
We're at 2,300 right now.
Exactly. Like, there's no excuse unless you're selling like random products off the shelf. But then you could still create one bit. I think that the real secret there is that you're passionate about what you do. There's
Hmm.
no absolutely no way I think a community can be created without the passion behind it.
You're gonna get sick of doing it if you don't do it, and
Mm.
or if you do something you don't love, you're gonna go on and, oh, I gotta post something today. And where I get an idea or I read a good article, I hop on Facebook Live right away and I'll do a quick video, and then we have a team in place around that to then create that video into they download it, put it into YouTube, then they SEO YouTube, and then they create a blog post out of it. They transcribe the video, put it into paragraph form,
Mm.
and then they put the timestamp on the bottom. And we do that to create blog content. And it's just something that you got to love doing it. You got to love traveling to China if you're going to create a traveling to China group. You got to do it. And if you don't love it, you're not going to do it.
I'm actually going to China on the 12th. If anyone's going to be there, I don't know if you've been to China yet. Have you?
I haven't, no.
You planning on going?
Would love to. We have a baby due in November, so it's gonna
Complications.
be, yeah, it's gonna be probably next year. We have two retired grandmas, so that should help us make our trip to China a little easier.
So does your business partner get paid leave?
Uh, she's on salary, so
This episode of AmzSecrets is brought to you by our Amazon seller tools. AmzSecrets.com VIP supercharges your Amazon listings. It uses big data from Amazon and Google in a meaningful way to increase the traffic to your Amazon listings. I use them with my brand, and I am personally ranked in the top 5 of some major Amazon categories. It's not a golden bullet, as you need marketing and good brand strategy, but having the ultimate Amazon listings goes a long way. To learn more about it, go to AmzSecrets.com. All right, so we've been talking about building the community. Is there anything that I left out there?
no, I mean just create content. And I tell people just Facebook loves Facebook Live, so just get on, start a community that you want to build it around, and just do Facebook Live once a week. I do about, maybe 1 to 4 videos a week, and we do one really long one on Sundays that's 30 minutes long. We just started that last night. And the great thing about that 30-minute video is we broke it down into 17 smaller videos because we got asked 17 questions. And we just created 17 podcasts and 17 blog posts and 17 YouTube videos, all based around different subjects on dry eye. And that's going to make us an authority in dry eye. So we can come out with 17 posts this week based on that one video that we made. And we have a team in place to do all that. And we're still, it's still a work in progress because we're learning every day how to make that better. But just create content and hire a team in place to build around that content, and you'll be an expert in no time.
Yeah, I think that's a genius idea. For the audience listening, when you break down videos based on the question, people are searching for that question, and that's why those videos would show up for that specific question versus just one broad video. And I actually don't do that enough, so I'm learning a ton.
Yeah, so we do release the big video that's 30 minutes long or 45 minutes long,
Yeah.
and then we break it down, and we actually we'll break it down into each kind of subject. So like an example would be Accutane is a medication that causes dry eye, and we answered that question last night. So I go to a website called answerthepublic.com, and you can type in any keyword, and it will give you the top questions asked by search engine. And so it will give you the what, where, when, why, and how surrounding that keyword. So I'll put in Accutane there, and it will tell me what to title my YouTube video based on search results. So then you put the one that gets searched the most as your title, as long as it portrays, or it is the video, as long as you answer the question. But
Yeah.
that will help you get SEO juice on YouTube and then on your blog, on everything.
I like that. That's a solid secret. And,
Yeah,
yeah.
answerthepublic.com is awesome.
Between that and Quora, I don't know if you've ever used that app.
Mm-mm.
It's a authority type of experts form, kind of like Yahoo Answers, but 100 times better. So
How do you spell that?
Quora. Almost got me there.
QQO. Nice.
And
I'll look
so
into that
I
too.
actually
Thanks.
use that daily, but not for SEO reasons. But I'd never even thought of it from that perspective. It's awesome. Okay, you've mentioned that you use Facebook advertising to build your brand. What's the strategy there?
So we do a lot with Facebook advertising. So I hired a Facebook ad expert, and he is trying to build around, so we've created custom audiences around our dry eye products based on Amazon sales. So we downloaded that audience from Amazon, uploaded it to YouTube, and then created lookalike audiences according to that custom audience. And he's building advertising to a funnel that we do on our website. And that funnel is buying our eyelid spray at a discount and then upselling them to our omega-3 dry eye supplement. And that's what we're working on right now. We're a little expensive right now, so we're just in optimization mode. And to give you an example, we're at about $40 per purchase. And so we're losing about $20 per sale on that, but we're optimizing it as we go. And we'll be doing that for about 3 months before I really start to look at the numbers. I try to ignore them right now. And then that's somebody we hired for that. And that, hiring somebody for that is about $2,000 a month or less. You can really get somebody part-time, and that way you can focus on bigger things. The Facebook advertising that I'm doing, I'm actually starting it today, probably this week sometime, is I'm actually on a mission to gather 10,000 leads in a month. And I'm going to do that by creating a landing page, and that landing page is going to give away our free dry eye book that we wrote. And then I'm going to create a video series that they'll get access to as well. And that video series just talks about more dry eye, and it tells you about products that you can use to help with dry eye and how to cure it. And I'm actually doing that. I'm recording the whole process of me creating this 10,000 lead audience. I don't know if it's going to work, but I'm going to be recording every step of the way, and you guys can see all my faults. And I'm doing that. Actually, we have a website. There's 4 of us that are at this level on Amazon. We're all at the same level. Some are higher than me. And it's Business Igniters on Facebook, and you can actually follow me. I'm going to do videos showing you every step of the way that I'm doing that. So Business Igniters on Facebook. It's just a small group that we put together just for fun, and we just put out little nuggets here and there, and whenever we feel like it. Nothing consistent like you're doing with your podcast here.
I actually go dark for like a few months at a time if I get so overworked. No, that's awesome. Is 10,000 leads 10,000 emails?
It's going to be emails or people in our community. So the goal is I'm going to collect emails and then try to push them over to the community.
That's awesome. I see. Like, I feel like that was never my expertise, building these like crazy funnels of landing page, free book, upsell. Is there some type of upsell software or tool that you're using to, once they buy this product, then you start marketing them on the next product?
So this will be a free product. The dry eye book will be a free download PDF. But we use Zipify pages as our Firestone software. I think, smartmarketer.com or something like that. Zipify pages is a landing page software that's built into Shopify. And so you have other things like lead pages and all that are kind of separate ClickFunnels as well. But Zipify pages is actually a landing page software integrated with Shopify. So it's really nice. And then once you gather the lead, they'll go into an email sequence. And that email sequence will then try to get them, it will educate them while trying to get them to buy other products as well. And so we'll probably offer on the thank you page just like a one-time deal where they can download the book and then get like 20% off their first purchase. But in the email sequence, there's going to be discount codes and ability to purchase different things in that too.
Do you find like a certain method working better? Like free ebook versus 20% discount buy now?
That's what we're going to be figuring out.
That's what I'm figuring out.
So when you're doing a landing page, you either want to, so most people are trying to either get to heaven or get out of hell. And getting people out of hell is a lot more of a selling proposition than getting people to heaven. And so we're getting people away from dry eye. And dry eye is a very painful condition, or it can be. And so what I've found, or what we've seen, is dry eye patients will pretty much do anything because they're in that much pain. It's pretty much debilitating. It's affecting their whole life. So finding that hellacious pain point in your customer and kind of, I don't want to say exploiting because that sounds negative, but figuring out how you can help them relieve that. And you can find it in any area. So if you have an audience, ask them. That's all you got to do. Make a SurveyMonkey survey that says, what is your biggest pain point today? Send it out to your audience. 1-question survey. You'll get, probably a 5% response rate, and it will give you tons of information on where you can go with your advertising. That's what we did for our latest Facebook ad, is we just asked our audience 5 questions, and they pretty much wrote the copy for the ads for us.
I feel like you feel the same pressure that I feel with Facebook advertising. It's like slowly creeping up, and like there's a lot of people just doing crazy good on it.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, I got to get on this thing too, or and
Mm-hmm.
I've been learning and teaching myself Facebook advertising is I feel like that's an entire different business, yet it could become a huge part of the business at the same time for long years to come too.
I mean, Facebook is just so innovative, and if you're a worldwide brand, like an education brand or something,
Hmm.
you can really exploit Facebook advertising just because 3 billion people are online right now, and there are 7 billion people in the world. And with Facebook and Google actively trying to get more people on the internet, Africa is going to be online, Asia is going to be online. So there's going to be 6 billion people online probably by the year 2020. And just think about that. Facebook has 2 billion users right now. They're probably going to double in size within the next 5 to 10 years. And so, Facebook advertising, if you have an education platform, you can sell your education to anywhere in the world. And so, it's going to be huge. And I think if you learn it now, they're always changing. And I think if you stay one step ahead of where everybody else is, so I think the big thing that's coming up next, and that's what we're exploring right now, is automated chatbots.
I've heard
So,
about that, yeah.
using Messenger as your email list
Just
instead of
makes me
Facebook
more
Messenger.
just makes me more overwhelmed.
So
Yeah,
Facebook Messengers is pretty simple. I mean, you
yeah.
can use like I use ManyChat, and it's
Mm.
MANY chat, and it's an automated system where if somebody puts in a keyword, they can get an automated message back, and you can do blasts to your Facebook Messenger instead of your email list. And email lists, a good response rate is 30% open, 2 to 3% click.
Mm.
And ManyChat, or not ManyChat, but Facebook Messenger has like a 85 to 90% open rate and like a 40% click. And
Wow.
so if you want to focus on one thing, stop focusing on email lists. There's an area for email lists. I mean, you should still focus on that, but if you want to explode your business, I would focus on the thing that's coming next, which is Messenger.
Mm. How does if I don't know if you've gotten this far in, but how do you accumulate the messenger leads? Is that
So
through a
we
Facebook ad?
we are just starting that as well. So Messenger, we've got about 25 subscribers right now, just because we haven't
Mm.
pushed it. But when you turn on ManyChat, it pretty much starts building every time somebody messages your company, it builds your active subscriber list. And so whenever somebody places an order on our website, there's a button that says get all your notifications on Facebook Messenger. It's automatically highlighted and they have to turn it off. So we just turned this on like a week ago. And so we've got 25 subscribers without trying in the first week. And you can do advertising. You can actually do Facebook ads that go straight to Messenger. So somebody comments on a post that you made, it can automatically send them a message from Facebook Messenger, and that gets them on the active subscriber list, and they can opt out anytime.
Wow. That is powerful. Just a simple
It
comment
Yeah,
adds them potentially on the list.
yeah, a comment, and you can automatically message them.
That's a golden nugget.
It's I've it's what I have these moments when I'm doing things and you start doing it finally. You know how you have your list and you're like, I should really be doing that. I should really be doing that.
Mm.
I feel like this is going to be one of those things like, why didn't I start doing this 2 months ago when I first started noticing it? And this is going to be one of those things, I think, for me.
And I just can't imagine like those videos that go viral with like 3,000 comments, like how fast those
Yeah.
individuals are growing their lists.
Yeah.
But my
Yeah,
only
I can
problem is
imagine.
you don't get their actual email. It's kind of like a Facebook email.
It's
Facebook's
almost
so
like they're,
smart.
but it's almost like you're getting their phone number
Yeah.
because you can text message them now.
Yeah, that's true. The reason why I say that is because if someone uninstalls Facebook, but I guess that could happen with email as well.
As I told my friend this morning, I told him, don't worry about the few and far between. Worry about your customer.
Yeah.
If you lose a customer because they get out of Facebook, that's fine.
Yeah,
Don't
very
worry
true.
about that.
What mistakes have you made along the way?
Oh, this year has been a roller coaster ride, and
Agree.
we expanded too quickly into more and more products without having systems in place. So develop your systems first and then expand. Because what we did is just expanded, more products, more products, more products, but we didn't have the systems in place. So all we did was overwhelm ourselves and all our products died. And we lost focus on our main revenue streams. And in order to try to get these other smaller revenue streams going, where we just eliminated almost all of our revenue streams that weren't that big, and now we're focusing just back on the main revenue streams again. So a big mistake there is not having systems in place. One, you're trying to expand, and we brought team members on board very quickly to help us with the expansion, and we just weren't getting what we wanted out of them. And I think that's partially our fault, but partially their motivation fault, because I just read last night a good stat: 2% of people or 2% of people don't require supervision in order to do their work. The other 98% of the world does. And so
I hate
having
that
those
quote.
systems, oh, it's terrible. But having those systems in place will help manage your team. So systems first before you expand into more products and more team members. And so you don't want to overwhelm everybody. And so that's what we're focusing on now, is developing systems. We've actually put our kind of revenue growth on hiatus until we can figure that out. Have a checks and balances system, because we hired a team member. He'd been with us for 6 months, created a coupon code that went bad, and we ended up losing about
No.
$100,000 in one day. And so it,
What?
it was a net loss of 30,000 actual dollars, but being out of stock and everything, it ended up costing us about $100,000 total after all said and done. And so
I feel the
that
pain.
that was a 2-hour window. I noticed sales were a little better than usual, not crazy,
Yeah.
one morning, and we went and ran a half marathon, and we got back from the half marathon, and we'd done a ton in sales, and I was like, what happened? And we searched a coupon code that was on our listing on Google, and it leaked to a deal site that if you added this coupon to this coupon to this coupon to this coupon, then you can get 3 of our products for $3, and these are our high-end products that we usually sell for 50. And so
That's
people were
exact.
getting, it was awful.
That's exactly why I don't run half marathons.
I like that. That was good.
No, I've
Uh,
I've done one before, and my
that's
body was
good.
just done after that.
Well, our body was done and our mind was done after that one. So, um,
That must have been miserable. Like, just can't get out of bed, and then you've got your business like exploding.
so then another lesson learned this year is hire a great, don't don't go cheap on professionals. If you're gonna hire for something, just don't go cheap, because we're in a big trademark suit right now over our name, and it's with a big company. I mean, a multi-billion dollar company. And we have first use of the name, and we trademarked part of it first. Like, we would trademark our logo, and we were getting our name trademarked, and that's when this whole thing came about. And if we just hired the cheapest attorney, we probably wouldn't have any say in this lawsuit. But we hired a great attorney, and we're about 6 months into the lawsuit right now. 5 months in, we actually hired a separate attorney, the actual attorney that won the Apple versus Samsung lawsuit. And we hired her just to give us a second opinion. And it literally cost us $1,000 for her second opinion, just to make sure we were doing everything correctly. And so just don't go cheap on professional services, because you pay for what you get, and you want the best out there. Um, don't hire friends.
Like,
Everybody's heard this,
yeah.
but I didn't listen, and it burnt us a little bit, and we lost a lot of money from that. But you live and you learn, and you move on. And
Mm.
we're in a good place right now, though, and we are moving forward. We learned a lot this year. It cost us a ton of money. We had planned to do 500,000 on Prime Day with all lightning deals and with our products.
How much?
500,000,
Holy
and
cow! Did I?
what's that?
You do an average of 180K per month, but then
Yeah,
on Prime Day, it's like you guys go all out, don't you?
we were going to. And then, due to a lack of systems and a lack of things going into place, the FDA held up about $90,000 of our inventory, and it's still held up, actually. It's 3 months later. And um, Prime Day, we did 11,000 because we had to cancel everything because we were running out of stock. And then, due to our inventory being held up, we had to order more inventory to get it in. So we didn't run out of stock. So we then had no cash, and we were on the verge of like having no money at all.
Mm.
And
Hence the investor, right?
we haven't pulled any investors in right now. We just actually got a new loan. And so the new loan helped us out. We actually refinanced our Amazon lending loan because it's 12-month term. We actually refinanced it to an SBA loan through the government, and they turned that 12-month term loan into a 10-year loan with lower interest rate and lower payments. And so that saved us.
I've always when the first 2 years of this business, I was struggling because I couldn't figure out how to pay for inventory and grow at the same time. And you mentioned like you were gonna do 500 grand in, one day, yet you're still struggling, to provide the financing for the business. And I think a lot of times people don't understand how much capital gets involved. And you guys are going super ambitious too.
We tend to be a little more aggressive, yeah.
Yeah.
And um, we learned from that lesson that we won't be that aggressive anymore. And my wife
Mm.
even told me she has her "I told you so" moment. She told us not to go that aggressive, and so we actually pulled the reins back a little bit. We were going to go for more, and I said, but if something goes wrong, we'd be strapped severely for finances. And she goes, how about you do half of it? And so I said, okay, let's just go for half.
Mm.
And something happened, and so it she was right, and yeah, it saved the company probably.
Wow.
And to anybody that's like listening, as far as like inventory and everything, I always recommend that you should be keeping track of what your value of your inventory is every month, and you should leverage it 100%. And so if you don't have a loan that's completely covering your inventory, you're you're hurting your business by not being able to expand, by not being able to expend more in advertising, by not being able to bring on that key team member that will free you up to do more product creation or
Mm.
content creation, whatever you value in your business. And so we try to make sure we leverage our inventory 100%.
It's interesting. I, I after I had like a serious disaster similar to yours, I actually try to keep a huge sum of money on the side for that rainy day. Um, because it was a big burn. Your heart was probably going crazy at the time.
Still is.
Yeah. So, man, those are a few mistakes, and I feel like some of them weren't even like in your control, like with the
Yeah.
employee. And what happened with them? Is that employee still with you, or?
No, we actually let him and his team go. We actually hired him to take us over to Europe. And with the European expansion, we just pretty much wanted it to be hands off, and he was commission based. And unfortunately, he had a day job too, so this is on the side. And he said customer service and advertising is just too much. I need somebody for that. So we hired a service to help with customer service and advertising. And unfortunately, what he did was he stopped watching Amazon completely. And the service that we hired ended up making a ton of revenue in the month of May, but spent twice as much as the revenue on advertising.
Hmm.
And so we ended up losing a ton of money in the month of May, and we were already launching over in Europe. So you're losing money on the launches, which isn't a big deal. But all of a sudden, the cash had dried up for Europe. And I was like, what happened? And I do kind of what's called a snapshot. I call it my snapshot. And I go through the numbers every month of Europe and the US just to get a kind of a cash flow snapshot of how we did that month. And it was very off in the month of May. And we fired the team. And then my friend, we kept him on in June, and we talked about what he can do to make it better. And it ended up just we had to take it in a different direction, and so we ended up letting him go in July. And we're still friends, and we're moving on. His his role in I Love, which is our company name, I Love, and he's no longer part of that, but we're still kind of
Mm-hmm.
exploring other business ventures with him.
Very cool. I find like those very specific issues, like advertising, any area that touches like a huge amount of capital per month, I tend to do that myself, mainly to avoid those kind of issues. Um, and I like your ambition where you're trying to like source people to do those tasks for you. Um, but as the ad spend grows, like 10K a month, 100K a month, or whatever, um, I find it kind of scary to give that like those reins over to somebody. So I'm
But
impressed by like how you're able to give that kind of control over.
yeah, I mean, it's you have to. I mean, if you value that as a business owner, if you value taking over your ads, you're only going to grow so much, which a Facebook advertiser or a CP or a cost a PPC. Yeah, I can't talk anymore. A PPC guy on Amazon, I think they're worth anywhere from, it depends on how much they're working in your business, but 20,000 to a full-time guy at 80,000 to 100,000. So
Mm.
if you value your time at an $100,000 level, then you can keep doing that stuff.
Yeah.
But you can also hire somebody and trust them that they're the expert, they know what they're doing, and just have KPIs in place to monitor them. If something goes
Mm.
wrong, you can address it.
I gotta do that. I feel like
ACOS
it's
is the
easier
perfect.
said than done.
It is. I mean,
Yeah.
we had somebody managing our PPC and Amazon ads for the last year, and now with the automated software that's come out, thanks to your podcast, I got on one of those, and we
Yeah.
actually let him go yesterday,
Mm.
and we're now saving $30,000 a year from him not being on our team because of Prestazon, which you had on the podcast
Mhm.
like 5 episodes ago,
Very cool.
and they impressed me enough that I went all in on their um, went all in on their software and tried it out in the UK first, loved it. So then I brought it to the US and then got rid of our PPC guy because we could automate it.
And power of software right there.
Power of your podcast right there.
I actually, I actually make an effort not to get commissions from any of the companies that come on, mainly because it would create a conflict of interest. So I'm glad that you found that useful, and I didn't receive a commission, just FYI.
So I think what you should do is actually on the show notes is get an affiliate link, because if people are getting value from your podcast
Mm,
and you're not asking for any kind of payment, I would be happy to go to your website to then click on your affiliate link because you introduced me to this company, and then you'd get a 10% structure for everything moving forward from them or whatever their
right? I
structure
should get
is.
like a virtual assistant just to set up all the affiliate stuff.
Yeah, you can't, I don't think you can, with your podcast, you can't be afraid to ask for money. And
I know,
because you're providing so much value
yeah,
to your audience.
yeah, it's
That's
true.
just my opinion.
No, it's a good opinion. Something to think
Uh,
about.
It's always hard to ask for money, but you're not asking for anybody to do it specifically. You're just saying that, Scott Volker in the Amazing Seller podcast, he always says, you'll buy me a cup of coffee if you click my affiliate link, and he makes it fun.
Yeah.
And if I get value from his podcast and find a product that he uses, I will go through his affiliate link.
Mm,
Or like Pat Flynn on SBI and all those
very
great
true.
podcasts that are similar to yours, but not exactly the same. And that's what I think you should do. That's just my opinion, though.
Yeah, gotta get on it, right?
hmm
Well, Travis, it's been great to have you on the show. I appreciate all the golden nuggets that you provided. Um, any way for people to contact you?
Yeah, so follow us on Facebook. There's a group of 4 of us. I'm probably doing the least amount in that group at around 180,000 a month. And we just provide useful nuggets. It's Business Igniters. And you should be able to find us there. We're pretty small right now. We just do videos here and there. And also, if you search on Facebook, that's the easiest way to get a hold of me. It's Dr. Travis Ziegler. I have a public profile that we kind of post all our videos to. And then you can add me on my personal profile as well if you find me. Um, can I ask you a question?
Sure. Just one tidbit though. I love
Go
how
ahead.
like you're just like, yeah, I'm probably the smallest one, 180K a month. I'm sure like when you're doing the business 5 years, the optimist business for five
Uh,
years, you
mhm.
never thought you'd be at that level of
Well, my one practice did 220,000 in its first year, and now we're doing that per month.
exactly,
There's a
yeah.
lot more expenses, but the way we got to that was we surrounded ourselves with people that are doing better than us, and we paid to be in those groups, and then you become lifelong friends with the people in those groups. And
Mm,
so the one mastermind we're in is about 25,000 a year, and it's well worth it because our goal in 2 years for this whole mastermind group is for 10 of us to get to 10 million a year, and we're all going to sell our businesses together. And you don't have to sell the business if you don't want to, which we don't think we will. But if we can all get to 10 million a year, 10 businesses, and then we could sell it for a 2.5x multiple. So each business would get 25 million out of it. So,
mm,
and the only way you're going to do that is with accountability. And you see your friend getting higher and better, and then you ask him what he's doing, and then you do it and you repeat it.
I agree. I like the
So my one
ambition. That's
question,
awesome. Go ahead.
so what is your current business challenge? Or how can I help you in any way?
My challenge is diversifying. I am fearful every day of the amount of how much I've grown on Amazon in comparison to all the other channels. And so I've been really pushing the wholesale channels, Walmart, Jet, eBay, um, and beyond, Japan, Dubai. So I've been working with wholesalers from all over the world. I actually haven't talked about it that much, but it is one of my biggest fears that Amazon would shut me out for whatever reason. And so that, having a significant amount of revenue and all my products stuck in FBA, that's definitely one of my biggest fears because you're kind of similar where I'm at. And so if they were to shut you down, you'd have a lot of inventory in FBA, most of your money, and then not a lot of revenue outside of, not a lot of profit outside of that, unless you were saving up, which I actually have been doing now because I have this fear. And so I don't know if you can help me there, but that's my biggest fear and
I mean, I could
what I
give my
worry
two
about.
cents and then see if it goes. So we're 85% Amazon US. That's our revenue, and
Yeah.
we're 5% Amazon UK, and then or 10% Amazon UK, and then 5% Shopify. And I think you should look at those percentages. And yeah, it is scary, and having insurance helps. And so getting that, I forget her name, but she has Amazon suspension insurance, and she pretty much guarantees that she doesn't guarantee it, but she says she can get you back reinstated within 5 days, or they start to pay you for your suspension and every day that you're suspended. So I always recommend that if you do have that fear, is to make sure that you're protected with an insurance plan. And because I mean, everybody gets suspended here and there,
Hmm.
and it's just a matter of when. But Amazon, I think, is a lot better now with your account health and keeping track of your account health
Hmm.
and just making sure you stay on top of all that. That's key. And I think getting the insurance plan in place, it's going to be about 2 to 3 thousand a year, but it's well worth your mindset. I mean, you won't have that scarcity mindset of fearing if it all goes away.
Hmm.
And then just working on, I'd say take a little bit of your advertising budget and lower it by 5% on Amazon to then increase it somewhere else. Or if you have enough profit in your margins, then budget or take, so I have 10,000 in profit. I'm going to take 25% of that each month to Facebook advertising or just some other advertising that you would never think of. Google, Bing, Yahoo, you never know. You never
Hmm.
know where your audience is hanging out.
Just out of curiosity, like how does her insurance plan work? Is it,
I am not sure, but you should have her on on your podcast.
yeah, I should probably get her on.
She's great.
All right.
We haven't switched to her yet, but we have our own individual plan with our current carrier that we're going to be switching to her soon.
What's her name again?
I will find it and I will email it
We'll
to
put it in
you.
the show notes. All right.
Yeah, I forget her name.
Well, thanks for coming on. Travis Ziegler and Dave
All
Ladden
right, thanks.
out. This episode of AmzSecrets is brought to you by our Amazon seller tools. AmzSecrets.com VIP supercharges your Amazon listings. It uses big data from Amazon and Google in a meaningful way to increase the traffic to your Amazon listings. I use them with my brand, and I am personally ranked in the top 5 of some major Amazon categories. It's not a golden bullet, as you need marketing and good brand strategy, but having the ultimate Amazon listings goes a long way. To learn more about it, go to AmzSecrets.com. Myrmidons, I hope you loved the podcast as I did. Be sure to check out our live Facebook mastermind group at AmzSecrets.com/FB. There's over 5,000 members in there. Also, I'm looking for guests to come on the show to add more value and more golden nuggets. If interested, go to AmzSecrets.com/guest. I know you're out there. Yes, you over there. Lastly, please leave a review on iTunes at AmzSecrets.com/review. Every review counts and helps spread the word. This podcast has been written, edited, directed by David Aladdin, Global King in Amazon, Logistics Strategy, and Building Castles. Hee hee. What? David Aladdin out.